All right, all right. Who doesn't love that classic music? All right, welcome to the July 1st, 2026 15-minute superpower training Zoom. I was just thinking a minute ago while the music was playing how much value can really be packed into a 10 or 15-minute training. It literally never ceases to amaze me how powerful that can be. Sometimes when we have less time, we actually compress a lot more into it than we would expect that we could. Sometimes a time limit pays off. So maybe that's a lesson for today. And I'm just kind of freewheeling that. It's certainly not part of the training, but just something that was on my mind. So let's jump right in because I posted this earlier. You guys probably saw it. High performers do this better. Come join us at 7 p.m. to find out. Who's curious what that is? Anybody? Anybody curious what that is? Anybody wondering what that is? What do you think it is? What do you think high performers do better? I'm just curious. Drop something in the chat there. Tell me what you think high performers do better. Last week, we talked about there's only one thing, Joanna said talk, there's only one thing that matters. Sue says recruit and close. There's only one thing that matters in network marketing if you want to grow your business, make more money, and that is exposures, conversations, new eyes and ears on the information constantly. So tonight we're going to talk about once we do get those eyes and ears on it, how do we not mess it up? Anybody want to know how to not mess it up? What do you think? Anybody? Nobody wants to know how to not mess it up. Maybe everybody's got this thing so dialed in they don't even need to know. All right, here we go. Ask more questions, ask better questions. Cynthia and I did last year, we did an entire masterclass just on questions, how to leverage questions to get what you want basically in business. So let me play a little video. I'm going to switch my screen share over for you guys. And I'm going to grab a little third-party validation from our friend, Mr. Ray Higdon. And then I'll be right back with you. All right, here we go.
Sales because they're too busy talking, right? So today's title, our topic is most people lose sales because they're too busy talking, right? So today's title, our topic is the best closers ask better questions, not give better speeches. Listening is the key to closing, asking better questions. For example, someone on Instagram, I don't know their actual name, but someone on Instagram said, hey, convince me to buy your stuff. So the dumb answer would be, well, here's why, because I've helped since 2018, I've helped people bring in 300,000 new customers. I was just recently voted, back there is the award that I'm the number one sales coach in the world, right? That would be the wrong answer to give some great speech. Instead, I would say, what are you looking to solve? Are you currently trying to solve a sales problem? Why are we talking? Why are you on here? It's much more powerful for you to be asking questions. Some of you have seen that movie, The Wolf of Wall Street. And, it's funny. I know it's a crazy movie, not a Christian movie. Just a heads up, spoiler alert. I had read Jordan's books many years before the movie, so I was very aware of the story. In the movie, he says, hey, sell me this pen, right? How many of you know the right response to that? The right response isn't, well, it's a really great pen and it can write upside down like an astronaut. It's got this incredible cushion grip. It's not talking about this. It's saying, well, what has you in the market for a pen? Why are you even considering a pen? Don't you have a pen already? Isn't that one good enough? See, asking questions make you the better closer. It's good for you to know everything about your solution and everything about your product and everything about your pen, but that's not going to make you a great closer. What's going to make you a great closer is finding out the problem of the prospect. I have seen way more people talk people out of a sale than into a sale. But if you ask the right questions, that's where the tide turns. If you've ever been talking to a prospect and you felt like it was going good, and then they said, let me think about it. I may have experienced that. I've experienced that, right? Haven't we all experienced that? You feel like, man, this is going well. They're going to be a buyer, man. I'm gonna make that sweet commission. I can smell it. It smells like money, right? And then they say, oh, let me think about it. When they say, I need to think about it, just ask yourself this question, and then I'm going to give you a question to ask them. Ask yourself this question: do I fully understand the problem they're trying to solve? I bet you don't. I bet you don't. Because the person that says, I need to think about it, you haven't positioned them to weigh the consequence of not solving their problem faster. So that's the question you should ask yourself, right? Do I even know the problem they're trying to solve? And this is the perfect time for you to say, okay, great, absolutely. Like, sales should be much more like judo, right? Where you're taking the energy and the weight of the prospect and going with it than just brick walling and stopping them. Don't ever say, well, what's there to think about? That's a really stupid answer, because it just abruptly, hits them. And by the way, most prospects are contrarian, or they have contrarian energy. They don't like being told what to do. So when you say, what's there to think about? They're like, nothing now, because I ain't buying. So don't ever say, what's there to think about? Like, I remember I was at an event, and this big earner, like $1 million earner, was up there, and he says, yeah, when people tell me what's there to think about, I say, well, what's there to think about? Making money or having fun? Okay, that sounds good, but that ain't going to close you one sale. That doesn't work. That's silly hillbilly, right? That's just dumb. Okay. So when they say, I got to think about it, you say, hey, no problem. Absolutely. Take your time. This is a serious decision. I'm just curious though, what made you initially reach out? Or what made you initially even look at this thing, right? So while you're thinking about it, I'm just curious, what is it you're hoping to gain, or what is it you're trying to solve if you ever did move forward with this? Now, if we don't know their problem, we can get into their problem. And once we get into their problem, it opens up a whole new series of questions. Well, is that something that's optional, or is that something you need to do? Well, if you don't do this, how will you accomplish that? Well, is that something you're hoping you can fix sooner or later? Here's another one. Here's a great one. You're going to love this one. Do you feel that problem will get worse in 5 years or better? Will it naturally get better? See, their problem ain't getting better, and they know that. But you need to position it in their mind that there is pain with thinking about it. There is pain with delay. There's pain with not solving the problem. Because if you don't, the only pain they know is the pain of paying you. See, that's a very known pain. They know that pain. You mean money has to leave my bank account? That's painful. No. If you don't solve the problem, what kind of pain is that? So you need to expand the problem so that they see there's pain associated with me not solving this problem. And when you get them to a point where there's more pain associated with not doing anything about the problem than there is the pain of paying you, they gonna pay you. They're going to buy your thing. They're going to join your service or your product or whatever it is you're selling. If I had to choose one, if I could only choose one, of either make someone an expert of what it is that they're selling, or teach them how to ask great questions wins by 1,000 times. Because if you ask great questions, if you learn to expand the problem, people are going to buy your solution. They're going to buy it. I'm telling you. Now, this is where it's an ethical thing. When you learn to ask great questions, you better believe in what you're selling, or else you're going to harm people. You're going to have people buy a product, service, or opportunity that actually doesn't solve their problem because you're good at asking questions. This is an ethical thing. When you learn how to expand the problem and ask better questions, you better believe in what it is that you're selling. Now, nowadays, thank the Lord, we have the ability to sell whatever it is that we want. It wasn't always the case. Decades and decades ago, you had, a few options. Now, everyone has an affiliate program. Everyone has a model where you can be compensated off marketing someone else's thing, or you can just create your own thing. Some of you are trying to sell something you've never actually used. I know so many people in travel. I'm sorry to pick on you. I know so many people in travel that they're attempting to sell travel. They haven't even traveled. They don't even have a passport. Now, you don't have to have some miraculous testimony from your product, service, or opportunity, but you do need to use it. But I know so many people that are trying to get rich in travel, but they're not traveling. I don't know, just to pick on that one industry. And so you need to believe in what you're selling. And once you have that and you start asking better questions, you're going to make it rain. You are going to crush it. And
And there you have it. A couple of key takeaways from that video. Hang on, I'm going to let some more people in. A key takeaway from that video: maybe you guys caught this. A few things. Most people lose more sales because they're too busy talking. I mean, come on, let's be honest. Aren't we all guilty of that occasionally? Or at least when we were in the learning mode, when we first got started, or we're so excited about what it is we have that we over explain it. Have you ever over explained something that you have because you're so excited about what it is? The problem is that's a repellent. That puts up people's defenses. That puts them in the this person's trying to sell something to me to make money off of me, subconscious defense mechanism, right? So asking better questions is going to work 1,000 times better. All right. Way more people talk people out of a sale than into a sale. He mentioned that. And I believe that network marketing, it's over a $200 billion a year industry, but it could probably be a $1 trillion industry if more people were good at it, good at talking to people, good at creating exposures, and good at closing, right? I think people are maybe timid about the idea of sales, but sales, when you get good at sales, it's just being good at communicating. You really, I think we all have a stigma or an idea about sales based on some bad car buying experience we had early in our life, right? And that's not really the kind of sales that we're in. We're in the business of solving people's problems, either from a health perspective or a financial perspective, right? And this question right here was really profound when Ray asked it. Do you feel that problem will get worse in 5 years or get better? That is you should use that question every chance you get. That's a closer question right there. And I liked where he threw in, will it naturally get better? Like, is it going to get better on its own, or are you going to have to actually do something different for it to get better? When you ask people these kind of questions, they have to check themselves, right? They're not being defensive at that point. They're being like, whoa, like reality check. And then pain sells. But how do you sell pain if you don't know what their pain is that you're solving? If you don't know the problem you're solving for that person, then how are you going to help them understand the pain associated with not solving that problem? Does that make sense? If you don't know what the pain is, and how do we know what the pain is? They will volunteer it to you, but typically that only comes after you ask the right questions, right? Sometimes, rarely, people will just tell you. You don't even have to ask them, they'll just tell you. But typically, you have to ask the right questions to find out what that pain is. And then you have to help them understand that not solving that pain is associated with more pain. And the solution is right in front of them, right? And then ask yourself this question: what pain am I solving for them? Do you know what it is? We see this a lot. This happens a lot in network marketing. People are so excited about their product, service, or opportunity that they have no idea what that person wants or needs. They haven't discovered it yet. They don't know if that person has pain in their bank account or pain in their hip, right? Or sometimes we think because they're limping, we make an assumption that they have pain in their knee, but that pain in their knee may be 10 times less than the pain in their bank account. But how are we going to know if we don't ask the right questions? Is this making sense? Is this registering? I hope it is, because this is fire. All right, you guys, that's it for the July 1st 15-minute superpower training Zoom. I hope you feel like there was a lot of value packed in that, because I do. Wow, that was like a miniature masterclass on closing sales. So with that, we'll go back to our killer music. That's a wrap. I'm out.